my bag and start out. Turn it over and you leave, no doubt. I'll only see the side of life.
Great. Frankly, yeah. We neither of us was leaving because it was a bad job. We didn't know what to do because there was no growth prospects or low pay. Yeah, none of that. I probably should speak more about myself, but for me, I was leaving because I thought there was something which was more exciting. I knew that one thing is when a client pays your company to solve the problem that client has, which can be pretty interesting and pretty exciting. The other thing is when you see the problems yourself and then you choose which problems to solve. And that was always just a lot more exciting for me. At the same time, like Yaroslav was saying, I wanted to come here. So I thought, to come here and to solve the problems that you want to solve, you're going to need to leave the job and leave McKinsey and be here. So that's what I've done. There are times when you, I think, come back and start thinking, are we doing it in the right way? So you always question yourself. I wouldn't say that there were times I was like, oh no, we should stop it. It doesn't work. But you always question yourself. You always question, okay, is the strategy right? Am I doing the right thing right now? Is the technology the right one? Are we doing the right choice in terms of this feature of the app or that feature of the app? That constantly happens. But I think coming back to the story that Yaroslav was talking about, when you grow the thick skin, I think at first it was happening more when someone else tells you, like a known investor, let's say, would tell you, no guys, this is too complicated. You kind of believe that at first. But then you start thinking, you go back, but wait, but I know this better. I know the technology better. I know the market better. I've thought over this, and this guy, spent a few hours maybe on it. I probably know better than him, right? And this is kind of, you start growing the thicker skin to any comments, any negative comments, and it kind of starts turning positive. That people tell you, oh, this is not going to work. It's like, okay, good. People still think it's not going to work, right? But then you see the consumers and they're buying. You're like, good, yeah, happy. It gives us more leadway in terms of the competition. Probably we should go through the recruitment test here, the interview process. So I think if I talk a bit about the interview process, we'll be clear. So first, it's just a general kind of check if the person is okay, right? I've been in so many situations when you look at the CV on the person, it looks great, you talk to the person, you ask a question, and then you get an answer to a different question. Then you try to ask the question and you get an answer to a different question again, and you realize that you cannot speak to the person. So then, there's no point to even invite for a full-fledged interview. Now, when we really deeply interview people, there's just the first interview, and there's a series of interviews always. Just the first interview is normally 2 or 2.5 hours. And there's either two of us or sometimes someone from the team will join as well. So this is something that we actually spend a lot of time on. And there are a few things that we look in everyone. So irrespective of the particular job description or the particular function that the person will be playing, it would be always someone who is strong on certain things. One is the ownership and leadership. So someone who we see can really take the problem, own it, be able to solve it, and go as far as needed to solve it. There's something about the analytical skills. There's something about being able to communicate. So these are just the general skills that we would expect anyone on the team to have. One particular test that sometimes brings unexpected results, but really helps, it challenges people a lot, but it helps to test, is we actually ask people to call a normal Chinese restaurant that does delivery and request to make an omelette. Now, omelette is not really a Chinese dish, right? There's all sorts of egg or egg-related dishes, but not an omelette. So basically what we're asking the person is to make something which is not on the menu. That's the first stage. The second stage would be to add some fruits to it, which is definitely not on the menu. And the third one is to actually persuade the person to add the fruits that they don't have in the shop, which means someone from the restaurant has to go and buy them, come back, and to make the omelette. And It's actually a super useful test because in a startup environment, in innovative company, every one of us regularly hits the situation where you have something new. You're doing something that people didn't think about before. People, you give an offer to a certain person, and it's just not a standard thing that the person would normally think of. And 99% of the time, the first answer is no, because it's not what people are used to. So you need to be able to get through the barrier. And this is exactly what we're testing with this omelet test, right? It doesn't hurt anyone, right? We actually do pay for that omelet. It does get delivered and sometimes even gets eaten. Last time it was an omelet with onions and strawberries, and I don't think anyone ate that.
Wait. The last time? Yesterday, they ate everything.
Sorry, that was the one before last. Yesterday they ate everything.
No, because yesterday apparently it was a very kind of perfectionist chef who actually screwed up the first one, and he had to do it again just for personal satisfaction.
What often happens is that the person has to. So first you speak to someone like a gatekeeper, right? Someone who answers the phone, and they cannot make this decision. So they have to pass it to the manager. Then you need to persuade the manager that they should do this product off the menu. Then it gets passed to the chef. Then you need to persuade the chef that, oh, I will teach you how to make an omelet most of the time, and you do have all the components, and yes, you need to call someone and get some fruits from the other shop. But it just tests first that the person doesn't really give up. It tests that the person is able to see the situation and act in the right way to really get to what they need to get to. And it's just this entrepreneurial drive that you see a wall in front of you, you get through it. You see another wall, you get through it.
Well, we'll also give them some tools, right? So they're allowed to kind of extend financial leverage on this, or simply called bribing. Or they can, they have to persuade them, as good as they're able to, essentially. And some people, they kind of cave in immediately. They say, oh, I'm in the interview, please, could you help me? My job depends on it, or something like that. No.
That's cheating.
Yeah, that's cheating. Or with bribing, if you just go over the head, then it's just another no, because anyone can use financial leverage if you just have big enough. But you can use leverage. It's just how creative you are with your approach, and trying to minimize the resources you expand to get the outcome that you want. This is kind of the skills that we're looking for.
The person who has done this test the best is our sales guy now.
Oh, really? How did he do it? Tell us.
Well, it's not that he just went through all these 3 steps. He's a food scientist, so he also wouldn't take an average omelet, right? He was teaching the chef how to make omelet, and it's not just throw some eggs, mix it, it's done. No, it was heat up the pan first. The chef was holding the phone, right, and making it while getting instructions. So it was okay. Heat up the pan. Is it hot? Yes, like test. Okay, hot. Okay, add a little bit of oil. Okay, drop of oil. Okay, wait. Okay, now you need to do that. It was step by step. Oh, you didn't do it right. Do it again.
But actually, he was the only one who managed to make an omelet and not just fried eggs. See, there's a difference between, with Chinese cuisine, you can make like fried eggs and just add some fruits in it. Yeah, okay, fine. But he actually made an omelet, which has even a different word for it. So he had to teach the word to the chef, what's an omelet, and not just fried eggs, effectively.
But this ability to persuade the person over the phone, the person never saw you, the person doesn't care about you. For them, you're just someone who called them, bugging them, right? But the person, the being able to persuade that, but you need to do it, it's a strong sales skill.
That's true.
That's my favorite question. So
Then you answer.
If you look at every single Chinese dynasty, they have a lifespan of around 200 years when they start crumbling down. And up until a death of every dynasty, everyone thinks that you should look at be very close to the government, be the closer you are with the emperor, and kind of that's the mentality that persists in I don't know why in China all the time. But if you look at the dynasties that replace them, these are either foreign invaders or people's uprisings. And if you look at the modern history of the way that the Communist Party of China came to power, basically the Republic of China, which was the nationalist government, they had all the control, right? They controlled the army, they controlled the industrialists, they had the foreign support, but it was essentially the people's support of just basic Chinese peasants who brought Mao Zedong to power, effectively.
The common people, the masses.
So they amassed this sort of immense power of just individual people. And so that's what we're doing, is that right? We're not going to the government and trying to get some sort of on a good whim with them, trying to get some whatever project partnership, whatever things like that. We're building like a real power base. We're building our own loyal consumers who buy from us because they believe in us and because the product itself is good, and just not because we managed to persuade some one key decision maker whose whim is always changeable, and at some point he can turn against you and effectively ruin the whole business for you. So we're building something which comes from the masses. We're learning from Chinese history and what works best here.
That being said, we do have some support from the government in Jiaxing City. It was not an investment even, it was a grant. So they gave us money that helped us to develop several of the iterations of the technology and get it from point A5 to point A12, for example, to move it further quite a bit. And they didn't even take any part of the equity. They saw the technology, they saw the potential, and they said, look guys, why don't we give you some money and you do it? So that was quite a bit of support that we got there. So do you want to start? And then, after hearing that, I'll do my description.
So this is the image basically, right? So trying to create, sort of strategic advantage from in any single situation, right? Yeah, I guess.
Very entrepreneurial.
Entrepreneurial or kind of Machiavellian and scheming. You could describe it in the other way.
Yas, some of the people in the team would call Yas Shifu. So it's like the teacher. Because very often, like you have dinner and you have a casual conversation, and then for some reason, Yas would go into the metaphysical considerations of the food that we're eating, or somewhere in medieval Chinese history, and you're eating curry and you think, okay, so I'm eating this curry, but how did this conversation come about? Right? So yeah, sometimes some of the people in the team would call Yas Shifu.